Hey everyone, it's Taya. So I wanted to make this video pretty quick, and I really wasn't hoping to make this one. I was hoping to make another one that I already prepared, or at least I'd already prepared a script for. So this is going to be kind of treated as a live stream. So Brett Kavanaugh has been confirmed to the Supreme Court, and I can't really say that I'm really that surprised by it, but alas, I was kind of hoping that that wouldn't be the case. So Kavanaugh was confirmed by a vote of 50 to 48, and as I'm speaking right now, I'm going to pull up the voter registry, like see who actually voted for who. So I'm going to CBS right now. I'm going to mute the speakers on my computer real quick. So Trump is actually going to um uh Trump is actually going to confirm Kavanaugh tonight, which really isn't that big of a surprise, but it is still quite frustrating. So Pence um, Pence presided over the vote, and they said that the vote fell mostly over party lines. So my guess is that uh, that one senator who wasn't able to be there did not vote, and probably Murkowski did not vote in favor either. All right, so here we go. All right, so Suzanne Collins of Maine and Joe Manchin, they both stated that they were going to support him. They said that Friday. Um, it'll be really nice if one of these places would actually say who voted for who. I'm guessing that McConnell. So I'm guessing Flake actually abstained from voting, which is very interesting. All right, so Senator Steve Daines of Montana was not there, so he okay. Okay, so Murkowski agreed with Daines that she would vote present, so essentially abstaining to spare Daines from having to travel back to Washington for the final vote. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Um, so Flake, I'm guessing he voted in favor. Yeah. Regardless, though, this is quite frustrating. Kavanaugh, you know, okay, CNN just released an article. So I guess in a way this is actually breaking news right now. So CNN just dropped an article titled "How Kavanaugh Maneuvered to Win His Confirmation Fight." I'm hoping that it says who voted for who in this article. Keep in mind I'm reading this on my phone, so I can't exactly yeah. I don't think this article is going to say. Yeah, it's just going through the story about how he actually won. All right, I'm going to try another CNN article posted 47 minutes ago, which they said Kavanaugh's confirmed to the Supreme Court. I'm really hoping that they say who voted for who, so that we can know how to vote in November, here in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I apologize for my lack of preparation, but I was not expecting this. Okay, so let's see. All right, so Kavanaugh and Jeff Flake of Arizona and Suzanne Collins of Maine said that they were going to vote for Kavanaugh after concluding that uh Dr. Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's allegations could not be corroborated. I mean, it's a fair reason. I mean, allegations on their own are not enough are not enough to prevent somebody from ascending to a higher office. But I do believe that we are going to remember this for quite some time. So, is this frustrating? Yeah, it is. Do I believe that we'll be okay in the long run? I don't know. Um, Kavanaugh is definitely not a Amy Coney Barrett, which is a very good thing. But these allegations are concerning, especially with his drinking. But aside from that, what mostly concerns me about Kavanaugh is how overtly political he was last week at his hearing. That is what we should be worried about, and that's what we should be talking about. That is not what we've been talking about. Regardless, um, everything will be okay in the long run. I always believe in America, always bet on America. Even whenever our politicians seem to make stupid decisions, it's just one of those things. Now, granted, the counter argument to what I just said about Kavanaugh being too political is that the Supreme Court has always been political, which is a fair argument in and of itself, but it's still problematic. That's what I'm getting at. So there's only been one Supreme Court justice to be impeached in the entire history of the United States, and that was Samuel Chase, and that was back in 1805. So basically, the reason that he was impeached is for being too partisan. He was a member of the Federalist Party, and this was after the Anti-Federalists had taken over. So there were there was a fair amount of, shall we say, conflict between him and the Anti-Federalists. Oh, excuse me. By the way, guys, you can't see this because my camera isn't going to be recording for this video, but I'm actually drinking an Arizona green tea right now, which is why I'm pausing at random moments for seemingly no reason. And I'm not going to edit this, just to keep it as raw as possible, because I feel like this is an appropriate forum to have a more raw video. And this is also my first video that I've ever made with my Blue Yeti, which is pretty sweet in my mind. It's a very nice microphone. I'm very fortunate to be able to afford it. But regardless, what do I think will actually happen on the court? So like I was alluding to before I went off on a tangent, the court has been partisan for a very long time, all the way to the point when James Madison, when he came into the presidential office after John Adams, took a list of Federalist judges who had been appointed and threw their names in a trash can. And that eventually led to Marbury versus Madison, which led to judicial review, which is what makes the Supreme Court so important to this day. Well, the court would be important no matter what, but so much more important to this day. However, no matter what I say, Kavanaugh is still arguably the most partisan justice on the court, overtly partisan justice on the court since history only knows how long. But regarding the key cases that really my liberal friends and I care about most, which is Obergefell v. Hodges and, of course, Roe versus Wade, what do I think will happen? Roe versus Wade, once a case makes it up to the Supreme Court, will probably be overturned. Now, what will happen to abortion rights is that it will be turned back down to the states and left to the democratic process to figure out who wants to do what with abortion. Now, of course, the obvious conclusion is going to be that, well, a lot of states are going to ban abortion outright, which is what a lot of them are trying to do. Missouri, neighboring state, down only one abortion clinic in St. Louis, Missouri. And right across the river, and there's actually an abortion clinic about 20 minutes away from St. Louis. So that's probably the reason that the one in St. Louis is still open, while all the others have been forced to close down based by restrictive laws. Now, the other concern, though, about Roe going away is all the other privacy rights that Roe reinforced indirectly. But we'll have to see where that goes once the court writes an opinion. Now, with Obergefell v. Hodges, the issue with marriage is that it's supposed to be reciprocal between the states. And if it is not, what'll happen then? That's what we need to be concerned about. And what about transgender rights? I'm pretty selfish with that kind of stuff. for obvious reasons. I'm fucking terrified about that. You know, will I be able to get married to a boyfriend before I have bottom surgery, or what? Or will it be left to the states like it was before? I do have great fear that we're going to start going backwards as far as um, common law or case law, as my boss is so intent on me calling it. It's the exact same thing. But I think at this point we're gonna have to go with um, we're gonna have to go with concern until proven otherwise. Now, of course, there are rumors that Trump is a closet liberal, but with his appointment of Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, that is doubtful. And especially with Gorsuch, the way that he voted in Masterpiece v. Masterpiece Cake Shop versus Colorado, it's pretty safe to say that Gorsuch is not going to be a representative of Trump's alleged liberalness, and Kavanaugh almost certainly not going to be liberal on social issues like Kennedy was. Now, of course, it is also possible that Trump conferred with Justice Kennedy, and Kennedy told him to appoint Kavanaugh because he figured that he would follow more in his footsteps. That's very possible, but however, I do question that possibility's likelihood. Do I hope that's what's going to happen? You bet your rear end I do. But the odds of that actually being the case are extremely, extremely slim, and I think that we really need to think twice, or we just have a lot to think about when it comes to the Supreme Court from here on out. I wish I had some more positivity to leave with you guys, but as of right now, we just, there's just not a whole lot that's going our way. One of the things I'm using to brighten my day up right now is looking at pictures of cats, or my best friend's cats, Pip and Paco, two of the cutest kitties you will ever meet in your life. They're basically like dogs that poop in a box. But anyways, that's besides the point. Yeah, it's just really frustrating for me right now because, I'm actually writing a paper for my law class on why the living Constitution is self-destructive. Because so basically, what my philosophy in this paper is going to be is that because the living Constitution doctrine, or any good that comes of it, will ultimately or can potentially be undone because of the fact that it promotes such fluidity in constitutional interpretation and jurisprudence. So we have a lot to look forward to, and I hope I'm not being sarcastic when I say that. Which, it's not the Supreme Court's job to legislate from the bench, which we have seen a lot of that happening. But what's important to realize is that in Roe v. Wade, the argument was actually over privacy instead of the argument was over privacy over abortion is what I'm saying. Even though I was thinking the words, but I just couldn't say the words. And there's this stupid idea that Roe v. Wade is exclusively about abortion when it was based on expanding privacy rights. And, I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at judicial ignorance. But going to while I'm trying to avoid that tangent, going back to Obergefell v. v. Hodges, one of the main arguments that was made in that case by the by those who opposed opposed gay marriage was that hold. I'm gonna pull this up real quick just that way I can get this right. Um, doo, doo, doo. So before I actually start on this, aka while I'm still trying to find it, one of the things that people need to realize is that I forgot what I was about to say. Oh well, that's what always happens with me. Oh yeah, now I remember. So those who are arguing against same-sex marriage could not use the Bible or other sacred texts to argue their case. So one of the main arguments was that um, uh, if gay marriage was legalized, it would desanctify straight marriage because all the straight people would get divorced and go marry or go have gay marriages. Yes, that was actually one of the main arguments, which is utterly hilarious and clearly erroneous. And to quote the majority opinion, the Defense of Marriage Act instructs all federal officials, indeed all persons with whom same-sex couples interact, including their own children, that their marriage is less worthy than the marriages of others. The federal statute, in brackets, banning gay marriage, end bracket, is invalid for no legitimate purpose overcomes the purpose in effect to disparage and injure those whom the state, by its marriage laws, sought to protect in personhood and dignity. By seeking to displace this protection and treating those persons that are living in marriages less respected than others, the federal statute is in violation of the Fifth Amendment. This opinion and its holdings are confined to those lawful marriages. So, the states were the respondents. So they were the ones who were. So Ohio and Tennessee defended the right of states to decide whether or not to recognize same-sex marriages performed in other states. And Michigan defended the rights of the states to outright ban same-sex marriage. And Kentucky defended the right to ban same-sex marriage and the right not to recognize same-sex marriage. So, what were their arguments? Quote, the Constitution's 14th Amendment does not settle the definition of marriage, so that definition is left to the states. End quote, semicolon, open quote again. The people of the states are engaging in a robust debate about the issue, so the court should not step in and give marriage a uniform national definition, abruptly ending that debate. And then, here's the hilarious argument. The state bans either on marriage or recognition of marriage were not passed to engage in discrimination, but simply to codify the traditional notion that marriage should be restricted to opposite-sex couples. Yeah, what they're really getting at here is that the Bible doesn't condone it, so it shouldn't be allowed. Now, of course, the court didn't buy into that argument, so the states lost, which I think they should have. Granted, that's part of my living Constitution background, but you know, it's just one of those things. And Justice Kennedy, he really did a lot for for equality overall. And as much as I respect Antonin Scalia, you know, he didn't really do a whole lot for that. I still remember when this decision was handed down, how secretly excited I was, but I couldn't show that excitement because I wasn't out at work yet. And so I wasn't out at all because I'm still actually technically not out at work, but I wasn't out at all. And so I had to just act disgusted by it at work, which I totally did not believe whatsoever. I was ecstatic, absolutely fucking ecstatic. But yeah, it was a 5-4 decision, and I'm worried that whatever the next case is might end up being a 5-4 the other way, or overruling Obergefell, or Obergefell, however you want to pronounce it. So anyways, everybody, I'll I hope you enjoy this little video. I would say quick, except it's been going on for 20 minutes. So have a nice day and vote in November. Bye.